Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Club Radio. This is Kip Marlowe, your host. And on the line, as promised, we have Ingar Grev. Ingar, how you doing?
Hey, Kip, doing great. How are you?
I know you're doing great. You're fantastic. Ingar is the DCGrowthCoach.com. And Ingar, we've got our guest sitting here. So you're talking to three people. You're talking to Diana Richards, who started a fabulous company, Casey Marlowe over here, and me.
Well, hello, Diana, Casey. Good to talk to you again. And me, always a pleasure.
That's great. Ingar graduated from the Naval Academy just a couple of years ago, right, Ingar?
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few years ago. But Ingar is a business advisor and coach, and he always has some really good information on his website and certainly on the LinkedIn site that I get every day. And I know, Ingar, we have so much we could talk about. We could talk about the leadership issues of the SEALs, but I think you wanted to change it up today. Tell me what you want to go over.
Well, this is actually something pretty interesting. This has popped up a lot lately. I had a conversation with a client about 3 weeks ago. And as you know, Kip, one of the ways I work with clients is I hold retreats.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Pull people out of their daily work, have them create strategies, and then send them out and hold them accountable for implementing those strategies. And one thing I always caution my clients about is the idea of what's the word I'm looking for? Weighting the tactical over the strategic.
There you go. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I was telling my client, we had a special name for military forces that fought without a well-designed and well-implemented strategy back in the Naval Academy.
Uh-huh.
That was losers of battle.
Yes. Yes, I can see what you mean.
Right, because your business is constantly under attack by competitors, substitutes, new technologies, bad news, whatever. And they're all trying to take away your customers, your employees, your partners, your investors, and even your own quality of life. And so you always have to understand what's your strategy, and are you sure that it's designed and implemented well enough to win, and how do you know that for sure, and what happens if you're wrong? So bottom line is that, if you don't have a strategy, you're ultimately going to be a loser of that battle, and it's going to manifest itself in many different ways. Not necessarily a leadership point, but more of a strategy point.
Sure.
So, yeah.
You have a plan. Have a strategic type of plan that, whether it's a decent plan or a great plan, you're not going to lose the battle.
That's right. I mean, if you're going to lead, you have to know where you're going. This is fundamental stuff, right?
Sure.
I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody in your audience, as well as the folks in your studio there, have all heard this about a million gazillion times, right?
But somehow, very honestly, Ingar, sometimes in the fog of business, we forget about it.
Yep.
And you don't think about it. When the alligators are hip deep and you're in the middle of the pond or the lake, and the alligators are hip deep, you just don't. You don't think about the other stuff that you have to think about.
So I just ask you folks there in the room. We all have suffered from this, right? We all have suffered by prioritizing the tactical over the strategic.
Yes,
we've all done it, right? And what are the reasons why we do that? Let me just ask you, what are the reasons why we do that? Why do we put the tactical over the strategic?
Personally, I think because it's easier.
Yep.
It's easier to go to the email list and answer emails than it is to actually make a sales call.
Right. Anything else?
Diana, what do you think? There's a lot of stuff. It's just it's a matter of being lazy sometimes, and not feeling like doing something. You got a bad day, you have a fight with your spouse, you just don't have it, so you do the tactical stuff instead of training your mind to do the strategic stuff. And the strategic stuff is getting the business and the marketing and the new products and so on out the door.
And let me put this in more concrete terms, because I think many of us, me included, tend to say, well, it's a plan, I got it in my head, I know what I'm doing, so I'm cool. The problem is, once our business starts getting a little bit bigger, we start having problems in terms of understanding exactly how we're going to allocate strategic capital, which is ultimately what it boils down to. when we're going to decide who we're going to hire or what equipment we're going to buy or what advertising campaign we're going to go after, any of these things, if as an organization we don't understand what that strategy is, what we're trying to get after, we are going to be inefficient in terms of the allocation of that capital.
Gotcha.
I'm just talking in just bottom line terms here. What happens if we don't have a solid strategy?
Diana is shaking her head yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm into this, boy. Okay. This is good.
Yeah, so that's what it boils down to.
Interesting. Ingar, thank you so much. That is what it boils down to. Ingar Grev, thedcgrowthcoach.com. Contact him. He's really good at what he does. Thanks, Ingar.
Thanks for having me on, Kip.
You're welcome. You're coming back.